He's a singer, and he's a man that can shake, rattle, and roll. And he takes us down memory lane week after week with Where Are They Now? And the Song of the Week. To finish the show, it's our pop encyclopedia, Shane.
Shane Hales!
Yes, mate.
Hail to the Shane.
Yeah, do more of that and get on your knees when you do that salute, all right?
Oh, Shane, you were a wonderful, wonderful host yesterday at the National Country Music Awards.
Yes. And the weekend was wonderful, and I enjoyed Hamilton. I really love your town. You're a party animal.
At the Founders Theatre. Wasn't it a good show?
It was a good show, and Tom Sharpling did a great set, and all the other guests on there were all completely, the whole complete package was fantastic.
So you got back from Hamilton all right.
Only just. I came back in an ambulance. And I had a cowboy hat on when I arrived, but I don't know where it's gone. Nothing's changed me. No, Hamilton, love you.
And somebody that lives just outside of Hamilton, Tiawamutu, in fact, is #1 on the New Zealand charts.
Isn't it wonderful? Good mate of mine. I rang him and called him and congratulated him. Peter Poser, #1 in the national charts with his new album, The Greatest Hits Again. Yeah. But what the hell? 50 years later, he's #1 in the charts. And Peter couldn't go to a better man.
Yeah.
What a lovely guy. And he's down, as you say, down in Tiawamutu.
Now,
scared
Shane,
of the after party.
Any gossip? Anything that
That's as much
that
as
I
I've
should
got
know?
to say. No, really, I'm not one to gossip. So don't want to steal anyone's thunder.
No gossip this week.
No, not gossip.
Okay, in that case, we go on to
Song of the Week, and of course, I've got a beauty this week. I'm looking at Lee Hazelwood and Nancy Sinatra as the duo, as the pair. Now, I've had a lot of requests. A lot of people have said to me, what about Lee Hazelwood? And I say, what about Lee Hazelwood? Anyway, we'll start with Lee Hazelwood out of the duo. We'll talk about Nancy in a sec. But first of all, Lee Hazelwood. He was the son of an oil man. I don't know why he wanted a life in music or any other trade. You're son of an oil man. You've got to be rich and wealthy and just go out there and have a good time.
Supposedly so.
Yes, supposedly so. So maybe times were hard. So he went off to school and he studied for a medical degree. And he got his medical degree, and then he moved on. Suddenly, what happens? The Korean War starts up, so he gets the call-up papers. After war, then he decided on something completely different. This is what a medical degree does to you. Here he is with his medical degree, and he goes and becomes a DJ. And I can sort of understand that because he had such a beautiful, rich, low tone. Beautiful when he sings. And so he would have been a great sounding DJ. So he did that for several years, but around about 1956, 57, he teamed up with a good friend of all of ours, who was one of our stars in 1958 when we all wanted to play guitar like him, and it was Duane Eddy. So he becomes good mates with Duane Eddy, and he's got a studio, and Duane comes in and they create this twangy sound, the big twangy guitar. And to get that, they didn't have an echo chamber, would you believe that? Lovely little story about Lee Hazelwood. He went out. Maybe he rang Dad and said, can you loan me some money? I need to buy a 2,000-gallon water tank, storage tank. And he puts that there and he uses that as his echo chamber.
Oh, what a great idea.
And that's how Duane Eddy got the twangy boom.
A 2,000-gallon water tank.
Yeah, you need one of those next to your studio.
So you put the signal in one end and you record.
And that's what gave Duane Eddy that great sound. And he co-wrote all those great songs with Duane Eddy, or I say tunes, 40 Miles of Bad Road, Shazam, and so on. He didn't do Peter Gunn, of course, that was Henry Mancini. But all the other tracks, he wrote them all with Duane Eddy. So he was on a roll already. He had a great career in music from the start. Now, what happens is 1960s, Duane Eddy starting to go out of fashion, and there's a new thing happening. The Beatles arrived in 63, 64. So the music's changing, and of course, this is when we go to Nancy Sinatra, his partner in crime, and she's looking for hits, and she's signed to Dad's record company, Frank Sinatra, Reprise Records. He owned that. Now, he signed his daughter up to Reprise Records in 1960. And she had several really nothing happening hits, not even hits. So Frank's going to drop her from his own record label in 1964.
Drop your daughter from your own record label?
Yeah, exactly. He's going to drop her because she's just nothing's happening. But she was singing in quite high keys and for her voice. And during that time, she was married to Tommy Sands, of course, and she was having a disastrous marriage from 60 to 65, so it coincided with the Reprise record contract. You get Tommy Sands with it, you know. And Tommy Sands he hit the bottle and turned into an alcoholic, and he treated her pretty bad, apparently. And his career was going downhill as well, so I thought he was dragging Nancy down. And what happens is a lot of rumours around that Frank Sinatra had a lot to do with Tommy Sands' demise because of the way he treated his daughter, Nancy. And he made sure that Tommy never worked in town again, you know, you're out of here. So Tommy really had a real... Anyway, I'm digressing again, talking about Tommy Sands now. But anyway, Nancy suddenly is looking for she meets up with Lee Hazelwood, and the two of them are bonded straight away. He's got all the production things, and he's a great songwriter. So the two of them get together, and he said, and Frank sort of says, you know, Dad says, I want my daughter to have a hit record. Things just aren't happening. And she'd been doing singing and acting lessons right through the years. So all this money's going down the drain if she doesn't do something. But anyway, he comes up with that song, These Boots Are Made for Walking, which was like massive. 1960, what was that, 7 or 66 that was. He'd written the song, Nancy recorded it, and they were #1 throughout the world. And she became the sort of epitome of, you know, the miniskirt and the boots. And she started the whole mod thing going with the long boots and everything. So there you go. And I know you had her pin up on your wall. I did.
I told you not to tell anyone.
Yes, I ogled at Nancy for many, many a night on my wall. Poor Nancy Sinatra. And she was gorgeous. And all these great songs just kept flowing out. But then she started a duet sort of thing going. She did Something Stupid with Frank.
Wasn't that a beauty?
And that was a beauty.
I love
mean, that was a great #1 single, and it was her 3rd million seller. But she also, Lee Hazelwood, they're in the studio, says, you know, I'm a pretty good singer. I can do a nice country thing with my deep, rich voice.
Yes, he did have a low voice, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And I know what causes it. I can make you sing higher too if you want. Now, where were we? All right. Yes, you're right. But they went on, they did the duets. The first big one for them, really, as a duet was Summer Wine. Then there was a lovely psychedelic sort of song that I really love it, very ethereal. And there's a video that goes with it, and that's called Some Velvet Morning, which is a beautiful song. And, of course, then they had the huge hit, which is our Song of the Week. That was Jackson, which he didn't write, coincidentally. Oh. No, it was written by a guy called Ed Wheeler, and the story behind that song, Jackson, is wonderful. It's not written about any specific town, but the Ed Wheeler who wrote it and released it in 1963, he wrote it and he took it along to Jerry Leiber and played it to him, and he said, your verses suck. Get rid of them. He said, but the last verse is great. Start the song with the first verse. So he went home. He took offence. He was a little bit put out. But he went home and he tried and he honed it and used those first 2 great lines of the song.
I got married in a fever.
That's right.
Hotter than a pepper sprout.
Yeah, what a great line. And that brought in the song so well, so much better than the other sucking verses that he had prior to that. Anyway, it was a huge success. It wasn't a huge success for Ed Wheeler. He released it, and then Johnny Cash picked up on it, and he released it on one of his albums and then gave it quite some significance, if you like, but it still wasn't a huge smash.
After that, you'd think that Johnny Cash would have surmised that song would never be a hit.
Poor old Johnny Cash. I bet he's still surmising. He would have had a smash,
So I can surmise that this week's Song of the Week has to be
Lee Hazelwood and Nancy Sinatra from 1967 with a smash hit, Jackson.
We got married in a fever, hotter than a pepper sprout. We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire went out. I'm going to Jackson. I'm gonna mess around. Yeah, I'm going to Jackson. Look out, Jackson Town.
yeah, yeah, go to Jackson. But go comb that hair.
I'm gonna snowball Jackson.
Go ahead and see if I care.
When I breeze into that city, people gonna stoop and bow. All them women gonna make me teach them what they don't know how. I'm going to Jackson. You turn loose of my coat, 'cause I'm going to Jackson.
Goodbye, that's all she wrote. They'll laugh at you in Jackson.
I doubt it.
And I'll be dancing on a pony keg. They'll lead you around that town like a scalded hound with your tail tucked between your legs. Yeah, 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 go to Jackson, you big talking man. And I'll be waiting there in Jackson behind my J-Pan plan.
It is a marvelous song.
Great version of that song.
I
You know,
love it.
really
Yeah.
lively, paces along. And I think even Jodie Vaughan, how are you, Jodie? You'd love that song because you're a country music artist. Yeah, and one of the best.
Good choice, Shane. Good choice.
Yes, dear. And did you know, now Nancy, she posed for Playboy naked in 1995. She would have been about 55 years old, but stunning photos, and Dad thought so as well. The whole family were upset. A husband and all the other people in her family, all her daughters and everything, said, "Oh, Mum, how could you do this?" And Frank said, "How much are they paying you, daughter?" And she said, "Oh, we told him the fee," and he said, "Go back, tell them to double it." So she went back and told them to double it, and they did. Playboy doubled the fee. And he liked the photos. He said, "I thought they were very tasteful, and it brought my daughter in a good light, and everyone loved it, so what the hell, you know." Unfortunately, Lee Hazelwood, he passed away in 2007, August the 4th, almost exactly to the day.
Didn't know that, Shane. Didn't know that.
And he released an album just before he died that he'd finished off, and it was called Cake or Death. Now, I can't see anyone rushing out to buy that because it's a pretty depressing title, Cake or Death. It was obviously related to his passing, and he knew for 2 years that he'd been diagnosed with cancer and so on. So God bless Lee Hazelwood. He left us a great legacy, though, and some great music.
And speaking of legacies, you've left us a great legacy for our show tonight.
I certainly have.
I can only emphasize, Shane, you've
Done it again!
We got married in a fever, hotter than a pepper sprout. We've been talking about.
Thank you, Shane. And that, my friends, is our show tonight. A big thanks for tuning in. Plus, a big thanks to all our guests. I'm Jared Smith for The Beat Goes On. Until we meet again in another 7 days' time, have yourself a great week.
Ain't never coming back.
Hi, sis. You want a lift?
Hi. See, somebody loves me.